Hello, friends. Today I'm going to teach you on sense organ and nervous system. So we'll have a very brief understanding about the sense organ and nervous system. So let's start. So we all know that what sense organ is. Sense organs are the organs through which we can feel, smell, hear, etc. So there are all total 5 sense organs, that is eyes, nose, ears, skin and tongue. And these all 5 sense organs have different functions to do. Through ears you can see that we can hear, and through nose we can smell, through tongue we can taste, through skin we can feel, and through eyes we can hear. So let's have a brief understanding about all this. So here is a picture about the parts of the human eyes. So it has different parts. You can see here, this is a top lid, and it has eyelashes, pupil, iris, bottom lid, cornea, sclera and tear duct. So eyes have different functions. Let's study in brief. So eyes to eyes, you know that your eyes give you the sense of sight. Your eyes and brain work together to help you see things. Your eyes is very sensitive and is like a round ball. So it is found in the socket in the skull and is well protected. Your eyes give you the maximum information about the world around you. Through eyes you see movies, you can go here and there, you can see or enjoy the beauty of the nature. Everything you can do through your eyes, and they differentiate between the colors, shapes, sizes, distance of the objects around you. The beautiful nature that God has created, all we can see it through our eyes. They contain photoreceptors, rods and cones located in the retina, and these rods and cones detect light stimuli and convert light energy to nerve impulses, which are transmitted to the brain for interpretation. Now let's study what is the anatomy of eyes. You can see in the picture the anatomy of the eyes. It has lens, cornea, pupil, iris, sclera, retina and optic nerves. All have different functions to do. So iris, it is the colored part of your eyes, and it surrounds the pupil. Here is the iris and it surrounds the pupil. It is responsible for controlling the size of the pupil. Cornea. Cornea is your eye's clear protective outer layer. It is transparent, slightly bulging surface in front of the eye. Along with the sclera, the white part of your eye, this is sclera, white part of your eyes, it serves as a barrier against dirt, germs and other things that cause damage. If your cornea is damaged by the disease, infection or an injury, the resulting scars can affect your vision. So you have to protect your cornea. Next is pupil. It is a space in the center of the iris, and light passes through this pupil. Here is the pupil and light passes through it. Then lens. It is behind the pupil. Here is the lens. It is behind the pupil and helps to focus light from the objects that you can see onto the retina. Next, sclera. It is the white part of the eye. It forms the supporting wall of the eyeball and is continuous with the cornea. Then retina. Retina, this is the retina. It is the essential part of the eye that enables vision. It is a thin layer of tissues that covers approximately 65% of the back of the eye near the optic nerve. Its job is to receive light from the lens, convert into neural signals and transmit them to the brain for the visual recognition. So images of the objects are thus formed on the retina. Next, optic nerves. Optic nerves, the information about the image formed is sent to the brain through the optic nerves. Now, how your eyes work? Vision begins when light rays are reflected off an object and enter the eyes through cornea. Then the cornea bends or refracts the rays that pass through the pupil. And then the iris opens and closes, making pupil big or small to regulate the amount of light that passes through it. And then light rays then pass through the lens, which actually changes shape so that it can further bend the rays and focus them on the retina at the back of your eye. Next, why our images invert? Why our eyes invert images? Do you know that our eyes invert our images? Yes, our eyes invert images. The images we see are made of light reflected from the objects we see. Because the front part of the eye is curved, front part of your eyes is curved, it bends the light, creating an upside down vision. It bends the light, creating an upside down image on the retina, and the brain eventually turns the image the right upside down. Next organ is the nose. This is one of the sense organ which is used to smell. It is also one of the most important organ. It is made of soft bone, and its inner lining is covered by hair and mucus. You all know that. And its function of nose are that olfaction, that is helps in smelling, respiration, that is breathing, moistening and warming of the air which enters your nose, then filtration of the dust, humidification of inspired air, serving as a resonating chambers for the space, and reception and elimination of secretion from the paranasal sinuses and nasolacrimal ducts. Now, what is this olfactory system? Olfactory system has a role to play in the nose. Nose is the body's primary organ of smell and all functions as a part of the body's respiratory system. So air comes into the body through the nose. As it passes over the specialized cells of the olfactory system, the brain recognizes and identifies smells. So hair in the nose clean the air of the foreign particles. So how does this olfactory system work? Each olfactory neuron has one odor receptor, microscopic molecule released by substance around us, whether it is coffee brewing or pine trees in forest, stimulate these receptors. Once the neurons detect the molecules, they send message to your brain, which then identifies the smell around you. So why is this olfactory system important? Olfactory sense, in terms of evolution, it is one of the oldest senses, allowing the organism with receptors for the odorant to identify food, potential mating partners, dangers, and enemies. So, for most of living creatures of mankind, smell is one of the important ways of interaction with the environment. Animals, most of the animals, human beings, all they use their sense of smell to find food, their mating partners, the sense of danger and enemies, etc. Now, which side of your nose goes to your brain? Do you know that? Although the olfactory bulbs on each side are connected, anatomical studies have shown that information from smells entering the left nostril goes predominantly to the left side of the brain, and information from the right nostril goes mainly to the right side of the brain. Now next, the organ is ear, which is also a very important sense organ. So you here in the picture you can see how the ear looks like from outside and inside as well. So the outside of the ear, it is known as outer ear or pinna. Inside is auxiliary canal. Then we have middle ear, then inner ear, then cochlea, and then Astrachan tube. So we all know that you have two ears, one on either side of your head. Outer inner is known as pinna, and it is used to collect sound. Then next is auditory canals, which is also known as ear canal. Once sound moves, waves have passed through the pinna, they move 2 to 3 centimeters into the auditory canal before hitting the eardrum, also known as tympanic membrane. So the function of the ear canal is to transmit sound from the pinna to the eardrum. So from here it goes to the eardrum. Next, eardrum. The sound passes to the eardrum. The eardrum is a thin flap of skin that is stretched tight like a drum, and it vibrates when sound hits it. These vibrations move the tiny bones of the middle ear. It has somewhere tiny bones here. It moves and then vibrates when the sound hits it. So when sound vibration to the inner, from the inner ear, message is sent to brain through the nerve which say hey. Then cochlea. The cochlea, the eardrum vibrates. When the eardrum vibrates, the vibration are then passed to 3 tiny bones in the middle ear called the ossicles. The ossicles amplify the sound. Then they send the sound waves to inner ear and into the fluid-filled hearing organ, that is cochlea. Then semicircular canals. Semicircular are the three tiny fluid-filled tubes in your inner ear that help you to keep you balanced. When your head moves around, the liquid inside the semicircular canal sloshs around and moves the tiny hairs that line into each canal. Next is Estrakhan tube. So it connects the middle ear cavity with the nasopharynx. It aerates the middle ear system and clears mucus from the middle ear into the nasopharynx. The Estrakhan tubes are usually closed except for when you chew, swallow, or yawn. When you sneeze, swallow, or yawn, your Estrakhan tubes open. This keeps air pressure and fluid from building inside your ear. So what are the main two functions of the ear we have learned? It is hearing and balance that depend on the specialized receptor called hair cells. Next sense organ is skin. Skin is the largest sense organ we have in our body, and it is the outer covering of our body. It helps us to feel by sense of touch, and as I've already said, it is the largest organ in the human body. It protects the internal organs, bones, and muscles of your body. Next, what is the anatomy of the skin? It has three layers. This is epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous tissue, which is fatty in nature. So skin has three layers. The epidermis, that is the outermost layer of the skin. It provides a waterproof barrier and creates our skin tone. The dermis, beneath the epidermis, it contains tough connective tissues, that is hair follicles and sweat glands. And deeper subcutaneous tissue is made of fat and connective tissues. The epidermis layer provides a barrier to infection from environmental pathogens and regulates the amount of water released from the body into the atmosphere through the transepidermal water loss. The primary function of the dermis is to cushion the body from stress and strain, and it also provides elasticity to the skin, a sense of touch and heat. The dermis contains hair roots, sebaceous gland, sweat glands, nerves, and blood vessels. Next is subcutaneous tissue, which is essential because of its role in padding the body. This enables it to protect the bones, muscles, and organs under the skin from physical damage. It does this by storing excess fat around the body in the subcutaneous layer to cushion the body and protect it from injury. Now, what is the functions of the skin? The primary function of the skin is to act as barrier, and rest of the functions are it gives protection from wear and tear to prevent bacteria and viruses from entering, then protection against infection and chemicals, protection against ultraviolet rays, maintaining body temperature, response to increased temperature, response to a fall in temperature, receiving stimuli from outside world, absorption and excretion, makes vitamin D when exposed to UV radiation. Another sense organ is tongue. So tongue is the muscular organ in the mouth. It is required for chewing, swallowing food as well as for speech. And the four common tastes are sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. A fifth taste known as umami results from tasting of glutamate present in monosodium glutamate. You can have the taste which you find in the noodles, etc. It is due to this fifth taste. Tongue has many nerves that help to detect and transmit signals to the brain. It is covered with moist pink tissue called mucosa. If you see your tongue in the mirror, you will see that your tissues are pink in color. Then tiny bumps called papillae gives it a rough texture. And then thousands of taste buds cover the surface of the papillae. Taste buds are a collection of nerve cells that connects to nerves running into the brain. Second, you can see here the picture that where a bitter taste lies and where the sweet taste lies. So bitter is at the rear of the tongue and sweet is at the front of the tongue, whereas the two sides is for salt and sour. So sweet foods are tasted at the tip of the tongue, whereas bitter foods are tasted at the rear. So there are two types of muscles involved in it. That is, the intrinsic muscle lie entirely within the tongue, while the extrinsic muscles attach the tongue to the other structures. The extrinsic muscles reposition the tongue, while the intrinsic muscles alter the shape of the tongue for talking and swallowing. Now we'll discuss about what nervous system is. So how does your body gets more energy when you run or work hard? This is all because of your nervous system. So nervous system consists of brain, spinal cord, sensory organs, and all of the nerves that connect these organs with the rest of the body. So together these organs are responsible for control of the body and in communication among its part. It helps in maintaining the homeostasis balance of balance of the human body. So what are the functions of nervous system? There are three main functions. There is sensory. Uses sensory receptors collect information from all over the body. Then interpretation. The brain then processes the information into possible response. Then response send message back through the system or nerve system to control the body parts. Next, this is a picture of the human brain, and it has different parts, that is cerebrum, cerebellum, and brainstem. Without nervous system, you cannot see, smell, hear, walk, feel, think, or do anything else, even though you have the sense organs. So without nervous system, you cannot do anything. So brain stores a lot of information called memory. So whatever you do is stored as a memory in your brain. And brain region is three parts, that is cerebrum, cerebellum, and brainstem, which I have said you already. So do you know why humans are intelligent more than that of other animals? Because the cerebrum is big in human. It has to think, controls memory, thought, intelligence, learning, and speech. And cerebellum, what is it? It is at the back of your head, below the cerebrum. It controls the movement of your muscles and helps you to keep your balance. And what is brainstem? It is in the lower portion of the brain and connects the brain to the spinal cord. It controls involuntary actions such as swallowing, breathing, and circulation, heart beating, etc. So how this everything, this message, etc., goes into a body? It is through nerves. So whenever we touch something hot, we pull our hand back. So how it happens? So all these are sent through the nerves. So when we see something, the message goes through nerves to the brain, and again it comes back again through nerves to the eyes, that we have to see that, and we visualize anything and we understand about that. So it is same with the other organ too. So message travel to and fro from your brain through nerves. Again, nerves are of three different types. There is sensory nerves, motor nerves, and mixed nerves. So what is sensory nerves? It carry messages from sense organs to your spinal cord and brain. What are motor nerves? It carry orders from brain and spinal cord to the rest of the body, telling them what to do. And what is mixed nerves? They do the functions of both sensory and motor nerves. They can carry messages in both directions. They are present in the brain and spinal cord. Now this is a path of stimulus. How the whatever we feel is sent to a brain. So here in the picture we'll see that this response, this is a sense organ. When some sense organ senses something, the message goes through sensory nerves to the spinal cord, and from spinal cord it moves to the brain, and from brain again it comes back to spinal cord. And from there, motor nerves, it helps to send the message to the locomotive organs. So in this way, the cycle goes on. Now what is reflex action? Reflex actions are automatic reactions of the body for which we do not need to think. The message does not go to the brain. They are controlled by the spinal cord. But pulling away your hand as soon as you touch something hot, blinking your eyes, something enters into your eyes. This is all due to reflex action. It happens automatically. Even the learned things comes under reflex action. Suppose if you have learned to bicycle or driving a car or playing an instrument or game, etc. Once you practice the movement, the brain starts sending instruction to the this muscles automatically what you have to do. So you don't need to think about that. The body acts automatically. So that is reflex action. And it reflex action goes through reflex arc. So what happens in reflex arc? When the receptor receive message by heat or pain, it moves through the sensory neuron and it goes to the spinal cord present in CNS, that is central nervous system, and from there relay neuron helps it to move to the motor neuron and finally to the effector, and effector give message to the muscles in the arms, and then we act accordingly. That when we feel any danger, we try to move, do any action which help us to protect from that danger. So the reflex are consist of these 5 steps in order, that is sensory neuron, relay neuron, motor neuron, and muscle. These 5 parts work as a relay team to take information up from the sensor to the spinal cord or brain and back down to the muscles. So in brief, we can say what is reflex arcs are. Number 1, receptor in the skin detects a stimulus, that is change in the temperature. Sensory neuron sends electrical impulse to the relay neuron, which is located in the spinal cord of the central nervous system. Then motor neuron sends electrical impulse to an effector, and effector produces a response, that is muscle contracts or move hand away. This is about the reflex arc. So this much is for today. Thank you.